Sup, my name is Ryu for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Welcome to the top 10 countdown of the top 10 dragon monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! This list is recorded January 2016, so if you feel I left something out and it came out after January 2016, that's probably why. Now, there are tons of dragons in this game, but before we go into discussing how this list was put together, let's mention the dragon that started it all. The Winged Guardian of Fortress. No, I'm kidding. Blue Eyes White Dragon. Whom without, we wouldn't have so many dragons in this game because the popularity for Blue Eyes is through the roof. I think I can attest for that. I'm 99% of it. Okay, I'm 95. Alright. So this list is put together for you guys because someone in the comments asked me to do it. I've been taking a couple weeks because I've been in turmoil trying to put this list together where I was comfortable saying that these are my top 10. Because there's so many dragons in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That it's ridiculous to sit through about 4,000 of them. Close to it. It's in the thousands. There's a lot of dragons that I had to go through and research on and say, is this viable? So, 3 ways that I decided who gets into the top 10 to help you guys understand before we go into the top 10. They have to be played more than one deck, so that immediately rules out Judgment Dragon. So he's not on the list because he's only used in one deck. Number 2, they have to be playable in some form, in some time frame, meaning that banned dragons are viable. And number 3, so my personal choices, but if there is an errata in either OCG and TCG that will affect the playability of the card, then it was looked upon in that aspect. So you guys all understand that. That's what makes this list. And you have to be able to summon it without crazy restrictions and summoning conditions. Otherwise, this would be an entire Blue Eyes list. If you guys want an entire Blue Eyes list, I'll do an entire Blue Eyes list. Top 5 Blue Eyes monsters. I'll make it happen. Just say the word. Secondly, let's get into this top. Well, lastly, let's get into this top 10. At number 10, Void Ogre Dragon. Become handless, and you can stop a spell card. You got a Sheehan Dragon that only requires a Dark Tuner, which, let's be honest, Plague Spreader Zombie is easy as hell to use in pretty much anything. That plus a level 6, drop it in Pendulums. Hey look, I'm going to make this beautiful freaking level 8 Synchro, and you can't use a spell card because I can negate 1. Only 1, because it's balanced, but it's got 3,000 attack points. It's amazing. And it makes the cut at number 10 because it's special. It's super duper special. Now, decks that, again, can use this currently are Magician Pendulum decks, Infernities. And yes, Infernities still are a thing. There's still a player base for it. Chaos Dragons. And various other decks that can actually drop it with Plague Spreader. Even Zombies. That's 4 decks off the top of my head. Not including variants. Now, if you count Heretics, because you could just do it fast enough to put everything on the board and then make Void Ogre to protect the field, that's 5. My number 9 pick is Vortex Dragon, which it seems weird that I would say Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon because it's so new, and because it also uses Pendulum monsters for its effect. But here's the thing. Odd Eyes has proven itself time and time again, the Vortex Dragon, that it's actually viable to an extent. It has a nifty effect. It totally negates stuff. It bounces 1 Pendulum back to the deck, which obviously easy enough to abuse. You can use a Magician Pendulum. You can use a Magician Magispector Pendulum. You can use it in Magispectors. Which you're probably going, how the hell would you do that? Well, you can take a few cards in, problem solved. Anything that uses Pendulums that can use Odd Eyes as a searcher can pretty much get to Vortex Dragon really easy. Anything that uses Pendulums and can go Absolute Dragon, which pretty much almost everything, can make Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Meaning that I didn't just slop it on the list, that I don't want anyone assuming that. My number 8 spot is Azurai's Silver Dragon. One of my favorites, and formerly known as Mist Valley Master. I think he's Reg Narsil now. Reg 4 Narsil, like Reforge. Actually showed off. You can actually use this in Dragoonities. You can use it in various decks. You can use it in Vanilla Pendulums. And of course, you can use it in Blue Eyes. And what would this list be without mentioning something of Blue Eyes? So I went with Azurai's Silver Dragon. Bring back a Vanilla monster from your graveyard. Also get Dragon Protection. Dragon Protection was severely needed, and Ajrai Silver Dragon was the card that came out and gave us exactly what we hoped for. A way to special summon Blue Ice, a way to make him viable, and a way with a 3,000 back big fucking ass that just sat there and made your opponent go, why does that thing have 3,000? Because it does. Number 7, Trish, the water dragon of the list, because let's be honest here, her effect is dumb. Level 9 Synchro, not that hard to pull off, many decks still can, even some meta decks. Banish 1 card from opponent's graveyard, their hand, and their field. That's 3 for this one. It took 3 monsters to make this, so you get rid of 3 cards. You wanted to use that glow up bulb flare? Nope. You want to use that Maxi in your hand and you got a good draw off it? Nope. You want to use that monster on the field that's a threat in my way and I can't get over? I'll Trish that out. She is an amazing synchro monster that still to this day, even though it came off the ban list back to 1, is still amazing and still is powerful and still game changing at times when she comes out. She demands the field. She's like, this is my field. Number 6, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. If I'm saying his name completely wrong, forgive me because I don't have the card in front of me. I'm still getting used to saying Scarlet. So, why does he make number 6? Well, besides that there's 5 other cards that are a little bit superior to him, but he makes number 6 on this list because of his burn damage. 3,000 attack made Red Dragons actually 100% less of a joke when it came to the level 8 Synchro. I mean, his predecessor did too, but not as close as Scarlet did. Blow up all special summon monsters. Your opponent takes 500 for each one. This thing has 3,000, everything else can attack afterwards. Am I the only one who sees how good this is? No, absolutely not. It's a dark dragon, it's extremely easy to bring out, and it's extremely viable within 20 decks that you can name off the top of your head. And I can sit here and name them all, but I think people would just get fed up and leave, so I'm not going to. Scarlet Red Dragon gets a spot number 6, well deserved, and number 5, moving on, is Black Rose Dragon. I think some of you already saw this one coming. Black Rose Dragon nukes the entire board. It is the reason why we have Debris Dragon on the ban list. Well, originally. Not now, but now it's just like Dragon Rulers. Black Rose Dragon just changes the state of the game. You make a Black Rose, you blow up the board, and then if your opponent can't make a comeback, well, they're fucked because you Black Rose the field and you did it at a good time, and then this could be womboed with 30 other cards, and again, like everything else, viable in multiple decks. Moving on to number 4. I was about to say number 3. Number 4 is Biel's. Biel's, the king of all diabolical dragons of hell, because let's be honest, Biel's is fucking amazing. Every time you take burn damage, he gains attack points. Anytime you take damage, he gains attack points. He can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects. You have to suck him up with a 1/1 or banish him out with a Castell or one of the other 30 ways. But when he comes out, he's immediately a threat. He's immediately a game changer. He's immediately something that you can use to get over your opponent's cards. And that is a beast. This is something that you do not want to fuck with, because it will destroy you. And again, like everything else on this list, plenty of decks can use it. A lot of dragon decks and a lot of non-dragon decks. There's even BL's Turbo, it's still a thing. Number 3. I think most of you probably wondering at this point, where's the Dragon Rulers? They're here. In the representation of Blaster, I only decided to only put one of the Dragon Rulers on the list, because let's be honest, to have a list clogged by all 4, it's not going to be a fun list to watch. So number 3 is Blaster, because Blaster is honestly the best out of all 4 of them. Say what you will, that the Fire Archetype isn't as good, and that Tempest would be best for its secondary effect, or maybe Tidal for Mermails. I can understand that. But when we're talking about pure, downright dragons, and their own interactions, their own effects, Blaster just coming out as a 2800 body, setting up for a synchro, setting up for easy summoning again. The fact that he comes out at 2800. I mean, there's not too many fire monsters you're going to abuse him with, but still, you're not even going to care because you just banished out 2 dragons. Blaster is one of those things that still scares me from the Dragon Rulers. It's one of the ones that should stay on the list forever. Because of the simple fact that instant access to level 8 synchros with Glow Pulp. You can just freaking throw a fire in the graveyard, 2 of these guys, or a mass dragon. That's a dragon that relates to this video. Believe it or not, it does. It's absurd, but it does. Bash out 2 dragons, you get a free 2800 beat stick on the field, and that ends games. That's not something to scarf at. That's why Blaster makes number 3. But there is something more deadly that if it comes up in more numbers, that would be more superior. At number 2, Dark Arm Dragon. OCG has proven this card cannot come up past 1. It's not completely ban worthy. It's really good at 1. But anything past 1 is an issue immediately. Dark Arm Dragon defined a time period, not a format, a time period of 2 to 3 years by itself. When people talk about power creep, the source is Dark Arm Dragon. 90% of the time, the original source. Because, let's be honest, the old Chaos days don't compare to the old Dark Arm days. The old Dark Arm days were dark as fuck and danky as shit for Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a time period when we felt that UDE, because this was before Konami took back the rights, didn't give a shit. I'm pretty sure they probably didn't, because Dark Arm Dragon at 3 and then 2 and then finally went to 1 after Teledad. But Dark Arm Dragon, honestly, is just a beast. 2800 beat stick, laughable summoning conditions, because let's be honest, if the card's at 3, it's beyond laughable. Hey, I just throw 3 darks in my graveyard and fucking drop this out. So, you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't think you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I could drop everything else, and there you go. Remove 1 dark, destroy 1 on field. The most simplistic effect in just like most dragon effects, besides Blaster and the rest of the Dragon Rulers. But this is the guy that creates issues at higher numbers. So, number 2, Dark Arm Dragon. Number 1, most of you should have seen this coming, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Any dragon that allows you to tap into countless dragons that otherwise would be useless or terrible, or their summoning conditions would just be subpar. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is the answer to 90% of those issues. It is the card that allows you to access Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 6 on board. And then you bring it out, and then it attacks, and then you get level 8. And then you can actually play your level 8 deck while actually being viable. And I obviously seen during the Dragon Ruler format, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is a beast. Heretics abuse the shit out of him. Chaos Dragons abuse the shit out of him. Hell, even Disaster Dragon still abuses the shit out of him. Red Eyes, Blue Eyes. Any Dragon deck should be playing at least one of these outside of the new Blue Eyes stuff because it really doesn't need it, but hey, you could still run it because it's viable as anything. 2800 beat stick that special summons itself by banishing out 1 dragon. Doesn't care the level. Specials a dragon from the graveyard or your hand. And it's Red Eyes. And it's dark. Which means combos wombos with light pulsar dragon. And light and dark dragon. Because you could just tribute 2 and dies and this guy comes back. Let's be honest. When you talk about the best dragon, you have to know the best dragon that can actually help support all the other dragons in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's Red Eyes Darkness Metal. When you talk about the potential of being the best, it's Red Eyes Darkness Metal. Not because it has the most OP effect, but because it opens the doors to 90% of the dragons of this game that otherwise wouldn't be nearly as viable without him. So it is a great honor to say Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon at the number 1 spot. And I know some of you are probably going, but you're the Blue Eyes guy. You're supposed to say Blue Eyes are number 1. I wanted to keep this serious, not a joke. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Ignore the cuckoo clock, and I'm out for now. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm already working on the next top 10 for next week. So thank you. But keep requesting them, and I'll keep doing them. I'm going to go record Subscriber Showcase, and I'll see you then. Well, tomorrow's video.